Well, by now, we all have seen the incident that's going on in the Middle East between Israel and Iran.
Tonight, Israel expanding its assault inside Iran as the conflict between the Middle East's two strongest military powers escalate.
But the question that you got to ask yourself is Benjamin Netanyahu leading Donald Trump to water to start World War III?
Netanyahu's greatest dream in life is a war between the United States and Iran.
Obviously, we'd like to see a regime change, at least I would, in Iran, just as I would like to see in Iraq. The question now is a practical question. It's not a question of whether you'd like to see a regime change in Iran, but how to achieve it.
He's not given up, and it's not impossible that that would come also. And that's because the U.S. in this regard does not have an independent foreign policy. It is run by Israel. It's tragic. The Israel lobby dominates American politics. It's very dangerous. I'm hoping that Trump will not destroy his administration because of Netanyahu, who I regard as a war criminal, because Netanyahu's idea was Israel will control all of the territory, and anyone that objects, we will overthrow. Not we exactly, our friend, the United States.
Yeah, and that's the question that you got to ask yourself is Benjamin Netanyahu doing this because he knows that America will have his back?
I know there has been a lot of speculation amongst all of you in the media regarding the president's decision-making and whether or not the United States will be directly involved.
You know, it's not about Iran having that capabilities because, as you saw in the piece, Benjamin Netanyahu been saying this since 1992.
This week's strikes exemplify Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's 30-year obsession with his sworn enemy, Iran.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival.
The chairman of the right-wing Likud party has called Iran an existential threat to Israel since he rose to power in the 1990s. His domestic political opponents have said that he has been obsessed with bombing Iran, with a rival even calling it a messianic conviction. But for Netanyahu, the danger goes beyond atomic weapons.
Iran is what Netanyahu calls the head of the snake.
So why would you not want Iran to have nuclear weapons capabilities, but you have nuclear weapons?
How many nuclear weapons does Iran have as of today?
Right now, I hope none.
Okay, how many does Israel have?
No idea.
No idea? You were in the government. They don't tell you that stuff.
No idea.
Who do they tell?
No idea.
Do you recognize the hypocrisy of Israel having a secret illicit nuclear weapons program that it won't open up its doors to and won't talk about, and then lecturing everyone else in the region about nuclear weapons?
Absolutely not. You know why?
You talk about hypocrisy. If an Iranian guest came on my show and I asked him about Iran's nuclear program, he said, I don't know, I'm not going to talk about it. Would you be okay with that? You'd be outraged.
Of course.
And yet you sit here as a former minister of the Israeli government saying, oh, I don't know, never talked about nuclear with anyone.
Because there was like 16 United Nations Security Council resolutions against Iran.
And there is against Israel. And there is against Israel as well.
About
your nuclear program?
No.
Yes, there is. UN Resolution 487. Let me read it to you. The UN Security Council in 1981 calls upon Israel urgently to place its nuclear facilities under the safeguards of the IAEA. Why haven't you done that?
Because...
And you are always seem to be the one that are, I guess, being aggressors to your neighbor.
Iran has never attacked a neighbor. Israel has repeatedly attacked its neighbors. Iran signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Israel has refused to sign. Iran submits to inspection by the International Nuclear Energy Agency. Israel refuses to submit. Iran has no nuclear weapons. Israel has between 75 and 400 nuclear weapons. So Israel poses an existential threat to Iran. For the last 40 years, Israel has conducted a systematic campaign of disinformation about Iran. Why the lies? Why the double standards? Why the hypocrisy?
It's funny to me that Israel is always the aggressor, but then once they hit at their so-called enemies, they want to hide their hands and say, hey, you know, we're going to do it first before they do it to us. And then when they do it, they run to America for America to save them. Like one of my friends said on one of my podcasts, Two Cigars and a Blunt, he said that what benefits does America get from Israel? We send Israel billions and billions of dollars a year. And what do we get in return? It didn't click until he said that. What is America getting from Israel in return for our dollars, our tax dollars going over to make sure that they're safe? Are we getting any type of minerals? Are we getting any type of trade? What is it that Israel is doing to help Americans? I don't know. If somebody watching this video, if you can, leave a comment below and let the man on the street know. You know, I know that they're supposed to be our biggest ally in the Middle East, but if it comes down to America or Donald Trump saying, "Hey, we got to defend Israel," it's going to be our young men and women going overseas that may lose their lives for a country that does not benefit the American people. Now, I know those billions and billions of dollars that we're giving them, we could be using that money to, well, Donald Trump said, make America great again. But it seems as though that Israel is using America to benefit their people. I think I heard that Israel has free health care for their people. America, we don't have that. So what is the benefit of America having Israel back? Now, I have seen lately that the MAGA movement is all over the place. It seems as though that they're having a somewhat civil war amongst themselves.
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening. Okay. How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
how could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's,
because
it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and
what
predominantly Shia. Okay,
it's not even... You don't know anything about Iran, so
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm not saying that.
Who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation.
One side say, hey, we must protect Israel. The other side is basically saying what I'm saying. No, Israel threw the first punch. Why does it have to be America to come save their behind?
But I'm not an Israeli. I'm an American. I'm not cheering when the emir of Al Qaeda takes over in Syria. And listen, whatever you put the risk at here, which if this thing keeps escalating, the risk of this going to a real ground war, another war in the war on terrorism. Let me be very clear when I say this. I don't know that America will survive this. We went into the terror wars in a much stronger place than we're going into this one. And this is a much tougher opponent than Saddam Hussein or Muammar Gaddafi. We didn't go into the terror wars $37 trillion in debt. We didn't go into the terror wars with the cultural and political and racial divides. We have mass protests in the streets right now over Donald Trump trying to enforce his immigration policy. This is going to be, this has the potential to be an utter disaster. And why should any American or British person, for that matter, why should any of us support this war? Because Israel thinks it's in their interest.
I totally agree with the young man just said. Israel threw the first punch. Iran has the right to defend themselves. Now, Israel didn't expect Iran to take the action that they did because of the fact that Israel knows that America will have their back. Netanyahu is counting on the fact that, hey, if I stroke Donald Trump's ego enough, he will be enticed to come help us fight a country that may lead to World War III. So let's say if we join the fight, and of course, we would help topple that regime. Don't you think that other countries around the world, or better yet, in the Middle East, is going to join in? Pakistan, India, because they may say to themselves, hey, if America will get involved in this fight, what is to stop them, or what, better yet, what is to stop Israel from expanding their land to try to come towards us? Of course, they're going to defend themselves. But Trump, he has to know, or better yet, I hope that he's not that much of a hate to say the word fool to be enticed in that way. Because leave it up to him, we will be in a situation that unfortunately he can blame Biden or Barack Obama for. But he did say that he would take 2 weeks to figure out what he's going to do. And we all know how Donald Trump is, or better yet, whenever he says 2 weeks, what happens?
Trump's timeline, question mark, always 2 weeks. It's an Axios headline summing up a Bloomberg piece from that same week. Taxes. We're going to be announcing something, I would say, over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Wiretapping. I think you're going to find some very interesting items coming to the forefront over the next 2 weeks. Infrastructure. We're going to make an announcement in 2 weeks.
Do you trust President Putin? You know, in about 2 weeks.
Is Ukraine doing enough to get this peace?
I'd rather tell you in about 2 weeks from now. Keep saying 2 weeks about President Putin. What is 2 weeks? Give us, what is the actual date? What is the timeline? 2 weeks or less, and if it's a little more at the time, I say, but, you know, they're losing a lot of people.
You see those little dates up at the top, April 27th, May 19th. Today is May 28th. So 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Now we're still 2 weeks away.
Well, we're dealing with Japan. We're dealing with South Korea. We're dealing with a lot of them. We're dealing with about 15 countries. But as you know, we have about 150 plus. And you can't do that. So we're going to be sending letters out in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, to countries and telling them what the deal is, like I did with EU.
Yeah, 2 weeks is Donald Trump's main, I guess, sticking point. And this guy is just something else. We already see that he's having a difference of opinion with, what's her name? Gabrielle Gabbard, his, whatever she is. When she said that, hey, Iran doesn't have that nuclear capabilities, and then he came back and say, hey, she don't know what she's talking about. So we already see the conflict within his own cabinet. It's just crazy. But Trump loved dictators, and Netanyahu knows this, so he's stroking that ego. I'm going to stroke it. I'm going to stroke it. Because by him saying that, hey, for the last almost 40 years, if Iran gets that nuclear capability, they will come after our country, Israel, and then who's next? America. And that's all it takes. But hopefully Donald Trump won't fall for the okie doke. But as we all know, I hate to say it, it's going to happen. And when it does happen, it's going to be your sons and daughters, whether they're MAGA or not MAGA, that's going to be fighting for another country, losing their lives for a country that does not benefit America. Now, I could be wrong. I know, like I said earlier, they say that Israel is our strongest ally in the Middle East. But besides us giving Israel money, helping them with their defense, what does Israel give the U.S. in return? I don't know. I said earlier, if somebody watching this video, let me know that in the comments so I could get a better understanding.